Hi everybody.
Hello, everybody. Всем
Welcome.
привет.
Buenos días a todo el
It's
mundo.
not in Russian.
Welcome back to ACI 5.
Bienvenidos al
Class
ACI
4.
5,
And
clase 4.
today, it's pretty good class. I mean, one of the foundational, Bill says.
Yeah, well,
Es una
they
clase
changed
básica
the
y
name
fundamental.
from, the foundational courses, the advanced courses. And I think it's a really great title because like these things are, again, major ideas.
Y yo
But
creo que el
it's a
título
little funny
está
because I was
bien.
going through these things and I was like, wow, I mean, these are so basic. Do we even need to discuss them? And like, does this need to be discussed? Because 25 years later, it's just become so much a part of my thought of what it means to be
Y
human.
cuando yo empecé a estudiar 25 años después, eso ya la parte de mi visión del mundo.
New information for them. And you forget that
Y
it's
vamos a dar una información nueva.
like fundamental.
There was a day it was new for me, and I agree with Bill. Nowadays it's even difficult.
Había un día cuando estos conocimientos eran nuevos para mí también. Estoy de acuerdo con el Bill que necesitamos hablar de eso, el karma y los resultados kármicos.
But I mean, to be fair, I grew up without any kind of coherent worldview, right? I mean, it was just
Y yo
not
he
an
crecido
issue.
sin ningún
In my
conocimiento
childhood, even,
de eso.
it wasn't until I got to college and had some kind of an introduction to Buddhism in college.
Eso no nos enseñan en el colegio.
Like your actions have a direct result. That like somehow your actions are being stored in your mind stream.
Y nadie nos explica que cada acción tiene su resultado. Y vamos a empezar, vamos a hacer hoy de manera diferente.
Students, it'll be easier for you to listen. We're going to do one question each, and so we're not going to speak.
Hoy vamos a hacer la clase de siguiente manera. Cada uno de nosotros va a explicar un parágrafo determinado.
And I think it's interesting to see like what the points of disagreement might be.
Y de esta manera
I think it'll be easier
va a ser más fácil. Y vamos a ver las preguntas uno por uno. Y vamos a empezar con la motivación.
Close your eyes.
My motivation is to keep
Y
talking.
ahora cierra tus ojos.
You promise not to
interrupt.
Okay, close your eyes, sit up straight, and just think
Cierra tus
about
ojos y siéntate recto.
yourself and your life. Where
Y
you
piensa
are
en tu vida,
right now.
en los problemas que tienes en tu vida ahora mismo.
Maybe you have a special name for the period of time
Puede
you are
ser
in.
que estás pensando que necesitas resolver algún problema.
Not every period has to have a bad name.
Y
Maybe something good happens to you now. And just try to think how you can use this knowledge.
usa este conocimiento,
Nothing should be the way it is.
que nada tiene que ser como es ahora.
Things that are around you can be totally different.
Las cosas alrededor tuyo pueden ser completamente distintos.
You can be totally a different person.
Y tú también puedes ser una persona completamente distinta.
If you will understand what you can do to what you think, to what you say, and to what you do, if you will do it differently, you can become another being.
Si realmente lo que ocurre en tu vida depende de tus acciones, tus pensamientos y tus palabras, tú puedes ser una persona completamente distinta.
Ultimately happy. And this is the class. Today you will understand how you can make it. Make a decision that you will
Haz una decisión.
use this knowledge. Somehow you will implement it in your life to help yourself and everybody else. Imagine the world where there is no suffering. I mean, nobody.
Imagínate el mundo donde no hay sufrimiento, nadie puede enfermarse,
There are no wars. Everybody is getting happy and happy every day. And make a decision that this is where you want to go. This is what you want to create. Go back to your breathing. Open your eyes.
All right. I'm not going to say anything and get myself in trouble. Okay. So, karma, different types of karma. How does karma ripen, cause and effect? So the first question, the three types of experience that ripen from deeds. And there's various different ways you can categorize karma. This is one of them, based on time. So, there's karma that you're going to see in this lifetime, karma that you see in the next lifetime, and karma that you're going to see in sometime after the next lifetime. And, this is something that only a Buddha can see definitively. Like, why do I have an oat milk latte on my table right now? And so, why does it taste good? Only a Buddha can tell you. Only somebody who's totally enlightened can say, well, last lifetime you gave somebody a hot water, and this lifetime you have an oat milk latte. But you can look and see also, like, there's patterns in your life, right? Like, I came into this world liking to cook for people. Like, almost as soon as I got out of college and had a kitchen, I was cooking for people. And particularly, like, once I got to out of the military and had a real kitchen and real time. I mean, I cooked for people like all the time. I enjoyed it. And so I've had good food around me my whole life too. There's patterns, right? And you can see patterns in your life if you look at it. Particularly, one of the things that happens when you go into retreat is all of your memories come back. And when they do, you remember, obviously, a lot more of your past life than things you'd forgotten, which was surprising that you'd forgotten them. But when all of these memories come back and you've got the time and the ability to look at it, it's a lot easier to see the patterns, right? Like, long before you're ever enlightened, you can see the patterns. You're like, oh, okay, well, I've had good food around me because I've cooked for people my whole life, or, you know, my marriage didn't work out because I was happy to engage in sexual misconduct as a young man, you know, and then you plant seeds and you can't stop it, right? Even though what you're doing at the moment may not be something that you would think would bring the result that you're getting. It's coming from something in the past, and it's easier to see those patterns, a lot easier to see those patterns. And so, and then and just a word on the reading, as you go through this particular reading, it's kind of difficult. They spend a lot of time talking about how karma ripens, to whom and to when. And just remember that when they're talking about the types of karma that ripen, a lot of the discussion is going to be about which realm you're in. And they're going to call it the 5 realms of the desire realm. So, you know, hell beings, hungry ghost, animals, humans, and they're putting demigods and gods into one category here. So it's 5 instead of 6. And then after that, there are 4 levels of the form realm and 4 levels of the formless realm that you can go through. And so they'll talk about, well, what kind of karma can ripen for somebody like at, you know, level 4 and higher of the form realm. And so, you know, it can look a little technical when you're going through the reading, but just remember that that's what they're doing. And one of the interesting things about it is, you know, like, why, where is this coming from, right? You know, okay, like hell being, okay, yeah, I can kind of get that, right? Animal realm, okay, that's easy enough, you know, like maybe somebody has seen a ghost, right? A hungry ghost, maybe. But form realm, formless realm, 4 levels of each, you know, it's either somebody has really gotten inventive, like somebody was really bored and created a lot of really wild stuff, or they've seen it, right? And it's pretty interesting to consider, because I remember when in college I was like, wow, either this is one heck of a wild fantasy, or they're onto something special, right? Like people have really seen this. And you can see there are non-Buddhist who are meditators, and you can see online there are groups that they're reaching the form realm and the formless realms. As the West is discovering these types of meditation, they're reaching it and writing about it. And I don't think they know that they're form realm or formless realms. I did what I saw individual accounts of things, and I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, they're doing it right, but they never used the term form realm or formless realm, and they thought that what they were reaching was a valid goal in and of itself. But anyway, it's interesting because this text is talking about the types of karma that those people are reaching, which it's a clue. I think, frankly, it's a clue that, or one piece of information that would lead you to believe that the Buddhists know what they're talking about. And so, anyway, 3 types of karma, specifically karma that can ripen in this lifetime, karma that can ripen in the next lifetime, or karma that ripens in the lifetime after that. And it's going to be based on the intensity of the action. You know, how strong was the action? And like all of the Vajrayana, you know, the whole idea with Vajrayana is that you're going to get enlightened in one lifetime. And so you know, the idea, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to speed up the process. So they're going to have to be very strong actions. And that's why you need to understand karma and emptiness before getting to that stage. So what else? You have something?
I think, yeah, I think I always like to give structure. So just remember where we are, right? We were discussing what is karma, how to create it, why ethics is important, we discussed last time. And now we are up to what will happen if you do it, right? I mean, how will you see the results of what you have created? This is the whole class about it. When and how. And something you can, by the way, ask questions, but I think I will go ahead and address the question that we usually have. Do enlightened beings produce any karma, right? Mostly when they talk about karma in these books, they mean dirty results, right? When something that you will get back will be suffering one way or another way. It means it will either be something straightforward suffering, or will keep you in this suffering being, or it will be something good that, guess what, you will lose, right? So this is what they mean by karma. They, of course, enlightened beings, they create causes, but they call them just results, right? They do not call it karma.
Well, on the subject of enlightened beings and karma, Geshe addresses it in the class, and he said he wasn't exactly sure what enlightened beings produce, and he said that they don't talk about enlightened beings having karma. That's not a word that they really used for them. And then after I had does not have the results. And it's, I mean, they're beyond time, right? They're not living a linear life where moments happen one by one. They can see all the past and whatever a present would be for a being like that, and all the future, right? They see all three times at once. And everything is already done for them. And then having just gone through the mind-only school and the golden key, and then looking at, you know, what you're getting rid of, you know, the parts of your consciousness that are gone once you get enlightened, and it's the part that creates suffering. And so then it raises an interesting question, right? Like, if everything in samsara is suffering and an enlightened being is beyond suffering, everything here is caused, right? Like, what's left? And they do have thought. They do have, and this is the mind-only school, they do have the sixth consciousness, thought. But the foundation consciousness, and this is getting, well, and now I'm getting a little technical. It's an interesting discussion about what's left when you get enlightened. I don't know. I don't think they have karmic seeds left, honestly. And in the Quiet Retreat teaching, and this is getting a little bit of an aside. In the Quiet Retreat teaching, Geshe Michael said that their mental seeds shift and flip after they get enlightened. And so that's the only place I've ever heard that.
what we want to say, it's not that they there are no laws like for Buddhas and for enlightened beings. They're just different from ours, and we do not call it karma anymore.
Yeah.
We call it merit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's an interesting discussion, and one that I'm still not clear on. And really, it's been one of the questions I've been more interested in lately. So anyway.
Yeah, and the mind only, do not forget, it's not the highest school. So
Yeah.
okay.
It's an interesting school. It's fascinating.
We will go through questions later, okay? So please ask questions. We will make sure we will answer them.
And
Second question.
And I'm okay at the end of class, like, we can let people go and answer questions, but class can be over and I'm happy to stay and answer questions for people.
Yeah, we can do it.
Because we'd like to keep the class to an hour and a half or less, so that we're not wearing out the translators and the students.
Okay. Now you do not interrupt me. You promised. Okay. So let's go. Second question. So as you have just learned, the actions you can do can ripen either this life or next life or beyond next life. Then what can influence on whether the experience will definitely ripen? What you have done will definitely, you will get it back, right? So there are 4 versions of it. The deed, either virtuous or non-virtuous, meaning good or bad, will ripen definitely. So you will definitely see the results, right? If it was with a strong emotion. And in English, they use the word fears, but it doesn't mean like bad in this case. It means like strong emotion. It can be strong anger. It can be strong faith, like devotion. It can be strong ignorance. I mean, nowadays, it is difficult to surprise somebody with ignorance and bad emotions, right? And with stupid decisions. But basically, I remember when I was doing this class, it was even pre-COVID, not talking about the wars. And I had difficult time to find examples. Probably you can find an example of German Nazi, right? That were killing, were 100% sure it is good to kill Jewish people, right? Or they were saying like clean, purify. But it was under overwhelming ignorance, right? And this ignorance is also a strong emotion in this case. And even though the whole groups of people, they do not realize that they are doing something bad because of ignorance, it does not mean that they will not get results. Oh my God, they will. And you will hear about these results in this class later on. So first, strong emotion. Second, deeds committed toward a very holy object, such as 3 jewels. And what does it mean, 3 jewels? Actually, we were talking about it in ACI 2, right? It's the whole course dedicated to what 3 jewels are. Very briefly, it's the Buddha jewel and like an enlightened being, Dharma jewel and Sangha jewel. What are these 3 strange words? Like the enlightened being is actually our goal here, right? We want to stop suffering, and we want to be ultimately happy, to see everybody else happy, to stop all the ignorance, all the insanity, to create a happy world, right? To transform it, to be honest. And second is, and why we can become a Buddha or an enlightened being, because we are empty. We do not have any self-nature, anything that, any self-existence. So this is the real Buddha jewel, right? Then we have Dharma jewel. Dharma is teachings, books, classes, you know. But the real jewel is the path and the cessations on the path that you will get, like cessation of your doubts in these teachings once you will see emptiness directly, right? Or cessation of your mental afflictions once you become arhat, you reach nirvana on this path, or cessation of obstacles to omniscience. All of this is about Dharma jewel. And the third jewel, actually, realizations in the minds of practitioners. It's the real meaning, and what the fact that they have seen emptiness directly, right? The nature of reality. And what usually they mean by Sangha, it's a community of assembly of monks or nuns, or just students who study here. So you may hear the word Sangha, it's like a community. But the real meaning is community of people, of realized beings, Aryas, Arhats, Buddhas. So, and anything that is committed towards these objects is actually a very bad deed, because it is related to the only path that works. Basically, somebody is saving you from drowning and you try to hurt them, something like that, right? Or you have the only, I don't know, on this page I have written down the recipe for the only drug against cancer, and then somebody stole it or something, you know, like it's a very bad deed to do something to these objects. And also interesting enough, if you are in these teachings and you hurt yourself, that's also kind of related to this, because you know already where you can come, and then you hurt yourself, or you hurt other people who are on this path. This is like, it's not dead it, but it is getting close. Then what gets the seed to ripen? So first, so strong emotion. Second is committed towards a holy object, maybe somebody who taught you something also in these teachings. Then something that you repeat, you do over and over again. Because the repetition, what it does, it takes the seed you have just planted, right? You have a trillion of seeds. At the end, you have planted trillion 0.00000000000, something like that, one, right? And then if you repeat the same exact action, if it becomes a habit, it goes closer to the beginning of the line. Every time you repeat it, you move it closer, 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 etc. Repetition. And the fourth one, the fourth type of the deed that will definitely ripen into a future experience is a very, as an extraordinary bad deed, like, for example, killing your father and mother. They have given you this body that has all the components to reach enlightenment, everything. Like in the formless realms, for example, they don't have one component that has to be here, like the body. They don't have the body. We have all the components, and we can make it, right? So they have provided us the body and the extraordinary level of assistance. This is why they're so high karmic objects. You can also think how you can use it in positive way, right? So if you do something repeatedly, if you do something to very high objects, like somebody who's teaching you, or your father or mother, and you do it with a strong emotion, positive emotion, then your results will be much better, right? That's it, my love.
Nice discussion. All right. Next question. What are the two special features of a deed that can cause it to ripen in this same life? All right. We want good things to happen to us in this lifetime. We don't want to wait, right? And you know, if you do something good now and it's going to come 1,000 lifetimes later, I'm an American. I'm impatient. Not as fun, right? And so two things. The object that you do it towards and the motivation. And you'll see these kind of getting repeated in each of the questions. But if you do an action towards somebody that has helped you or that can help other people, that is going to be much more powerful, right? You know, it's one thing to, you know, feed a dog. Have you done something good if you fed a dog? Yeah, well, absolutely. And you'll get some kind of result that'll be greater in the future from doing that. But that dog's not going to get enlightened in this lifetime, unless, of course, you're a Sangha. Sangha was the one who did the 12-year retreat and came out and saw the dying dog and become Maitreya. So, but in general, dogs aren't going to get enlightened in this lifetime. They don't have the mental capacity. And a Buddha, if there was a Buddha in your life, well, that person has unlimited ability to help people get enlightened. And so any action towards like a Buddha would be far more powerful than an action towards a dog. And then other people that have helped you, like your parents, you know, they gave you birth. And I know, like, and this is a common discussion, is like, well, my parents had problems, you know, my parents, they were difficult, they did this, they did that I didn't like. It doesn't matter. They still gave you this life, and with this life you have the ability to get enlightened. So there's still an extremely powerful object, and and you'll start to see the results from your actions towards them in this lifetime. And then ordained people, they've taken vows to try and reach enlightenment, and so they're going to be particularly powerful objects. And it makes sense, right? That not all your actions are going to be the same. And then motivation counts, right? And this is why, you know, if you are driving a car and you're on your cell phone and you're distracted and you accidentally run over somebody who is a stranger, well,
it happened to be an arhat.
Well, okay, well, okay, you know, but you run over a stranger, and you know, yeah, you're guilty, right? You were negligent. You didn't mean to kill them, but that in the United States, that's still a felony, right? That's still like criminal activity. Go to jail. Yeah, we know you were just on your cell phone, but you killed somebody because of your negligence. So that's manslaughter. Now, as opposed to Well, I got mad at somebody. I thought about it for a few days. I got in my car and then I ran them over on purpose.
3 times.
Well, 3 times. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, well, now you spent several days planning this. You got in your car, you hit them on purpose. Well, okay. That's murder. That's a much more serious crime. Right. And so you can see even in our laws, those types of things are recognized, right? And then so it's your motivation. And then on the positive side, right? It's one thing if you give, like, say you cook a meal for somebody, right? But then if you cook a meal for the Sangha, right? And then, with the hopes that it will give them the energy to move further down the path towards enlightenment so that every living being can be free from suffering. I mean, can you do that? Yeah, you can do that. So the motivation to cook a meal in that case, it's not just to feed some hungry people. It's to support the process of every living being getting out of suffering. There's countless living beings. And so then you've done an action that's dramatically more powerful, right? In a positive kind of way. And so you're going to be much more likely to see the results of that. So object and motivation, if it's a very high object and a very strong motivation, you're going to see the results in that lifetime. And that's how you're going to get enlightened in one lifetime. That's how the process works. So I'm done.
I want to say that enlightenment is not seeing emptiness directly. We have a question. It's different, right? And I think we have covered it in ACI 2.
Oh, it's
yeah. So let's say let's repeat quickly. There are 5 paths. There are 5 paths. First, when you, any living being, including insects, I don't know, amoebas, including pleasure beings from form and formless realms, or human beings, anybody, goes through 5 different stages on their spiritual path. Path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of habituation, and no more learning. So path of seeing is when we see emptiness directly, right? First we accumulate good seeds and discussed renunciation.
Yeah, you're developing renunciation and you're gaining the ability to meditate at a high level because you have renunciation. Okay, keep going.
Second is path of preparation, when you train yourself in this actually stuff, in what karma is, how to make it happen, and what emptiness is, right? And the next level, ACI 6, will be in details how to see emptiness directly. So then once you train yourself and you are able to meditate, then you enter the path of seeing, and in a meditation you get for the first time to see the absolute reality, the
direct perception of emptiness,
what we call emptiness, right? But not in this school, because in this school it is called selflessness. Don't ask me why. Ask Master Vasubantu or the Buddha Shakyamuni. But in the school, it has a different name. So I wanted to say that now that you heard Bill telling you about what it takes to ripen the seed, right? I mean, this lifetime should be somebody really high and strong motivation. then probably you understand why there are people who cannot get 4-step results fast, right? Because normally you would wait for 1,000 years at the very least to get what you have done back, right? To see the results. It takes much longer, as you can see. So if you are really serious about getting what you want using 4 steps, make sure you do it with high motivation, properly, every single thing, and with all these 4 things that we have discussed already, right? To somebody who really needs it, with high motivation and repeatedly. So then you will get it back. You cannot expect when you have given money and, I don't know, once somebody, and especially if you regret after that, right, then you cannot expect any results this lifetime. Some of you, I know you have vows, right? Because we have in this lineage 3 levels of vows. Like the first level is lay people, and not only lay people, also monks and nuns vows, but these are the first level. And here in this class, we say that, yeah, okay, if you do something towards an ordained person, then it makes it higher, what you have done. Don't forget, when you get vows, actions of other people towards you are also getting stronger. So be careful. Other people should not hurt themselves. Try not to get into some kind of conflicts when they can hurt you also, especially when you have already Bodhisattva vows, right? Because Bodhisattva vows, they're higher than lay people and monks and nuns vows. And also something that people do not realize, that these laws are exactly like human laws. If you do not know about them, it does not mean that you are waived from the consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
So better know how it works. And
once you understand the rules, though, your actions become more powerful. So if you're doing something and you don't realize the effects, you're still going to get the result from it. But it's even more powerful when you understand karma and emptiness, which helps you get results quicker if you're doing something good. So there's a positive side to that. But if you know karma and you have some kind of intellectual understanding of emptiness, and you still say, the heck with it, I'm going to do this bad thing, the results of that are worse also. So it's understanding the process it does make the karma stronger.
mm-hmm. Okay, so there is also one question before we will do next question. I wanted to emphasize that the only thing that we know about karma, and especially karmic correlations, this thing brings this result, is from the speech of somebody who is omniscient, who is enlightened. So there are only couple sutras that I know that describe these karmic correlations. So whenever you hear somebody says, oh, I know about your karma, make sure that they have read at the very least one of these books, because they cannot have their own ideas. It's not something that a human being can know. Even Aryas, even people who have seen emptiness directly, they do not see the subtle work of karma. Only an enlightened being can tell you about it. So this is how you can really know which karma to look for. Okay, what four things can make the object of an action special? Because we said that the only hope you have this lifetime is to try to reach enlightenment this lifetime, right? Everything else is, you don't know where you will go after you die. There are so many possibilities, and so few of them are good ones. So we really want to do something to a special object. First type of object that make your deed a deed to a higher object is some kind of higher form of life. For example, if you have an animal to take care of or a human, then human is higher. Why? Because they are closer to enlightenment. Every single one of us who is born theoretically can make it within one lifetime. Everywhere they write the same thing. So humans are higher than, for example, animals. Then now probably you know what to answer if somebody will come and ask you, oh, can I really use antibiotic? Or I should, I don't know, die out of pneumonia. Now you because you can get the body of light this lifetime. You become an enlightened person. Second is by suffering level. For example, if somebody is really sick and needs support, then it will be more powerful than somebody who is fine and you just, I don't know, just need some help. Somebody who is dying out of thirst and somebody who is just a little bit thirsty, are totally different from karmic point of view. So first is high form of life, so second is suffering. Third object is somebody who already helped you in the past. First of all, if you are just a normal human being, it's your father and mother. And if you have spiritual teachers, then they become higher special objects for you. They are higher than even father and mother. And it's strange, but it is absolutely true. There was a moment Geshe Michael went to a hospital, and it was like he got worse suddenly. I mean, it was almost an emergency. We knew that he did not feel well, and then out of a sudden he is having his surgery like several years ago with his gallbladder. And I realized that I'm like, oh my God, we cannot lose Geshe Michael. I mean, this is such a high object. Yeah, so they become like more powerful than even parents. You want to add something? No. So let's go. Why they are higher? Because they can teach you to stop all the suffering in the world overall. So there is fourth karmic object, and this is a tricky one. It is called possessing high spiritual qualities. And it's a code word, actually, that means basically four things, 4.5. High qualities is a code word for people who have just accomplished something really cool spiritually. For example, they have seen emptiness directly, like a person has seen emptiness directly. He comes out of his meditation or her meditation. And then right after that, for a while, they are crazy, cool spiritual objects. I mean, extremely powerful. This is first. Second, if somebody comes out of cessation meditation is it is also related to seeing emptiness directly, but it is a little bit later on the path, right? Can be a cessation of some kind of obstacles to omniscience or something. Then they have, they say, somebody who is after immeasurable love meditation. And this is Abhidharma wording. They are a little bit differently phrase it than higher schools, but it is related to what we call in higher schools love and compassion, right? Bodhicitta. Or the desire to become an enlightened being for the sake of every living being. This is the formal definition. So, or if somebody has just had a meditation that is called in Amidharma, no mind. No mind does not mean you lose your mind. It's just that for a while you've been able to stop your mental afflictions. And so they say that after this meditation, you are also possess high karmic quality, high spiritual qualities. And the fourth one is somebody who just became an arhat. So somebody who stopped their mental afflictions like permanently. Okay, that's it. This is the four things that can make an object special.
And briefly, to be clear for people, there's four types of beings that we're talking about. There's normal humans, if you haven't had the direct perception of emptiness. Then when you have the direct perception of emptiness, you're an Arya. And then like you're a different type of being. At that point, after you've had the direct perception of emptiness, you're not fully enlightened, but you will get enlightened. And it's a little complicated. There's two different paths you can be on after the direct perception of emptiness. You can be on the Hinayana path, where you're going to become an Arhat, or you can be on the Mahayana path, where you've had bodhicitta in your mind. You've wanted to save every living being when you had the direct perception of emptiness, and that person's on the track to become a Buddha. And so in Arya, on the Hinayana track, once they get rid of the old negative seeds that they had, then they become an Arhat, right? That person has, if you remember, we talked about with and without remainder, with seeds still left and without seeds. So normal person, Arya, Arhat on the Hinayana path, or Buddha, fully enlightened on the Mahayana path. And so after the direct perception of emptiness, you still have 10 stages to go through, the 10 bhumis to go through, where you're working to eliminate all of your mental afflictions to reach full enlightenment. So it can be a little tricky, right? Nirvana sounds like enlightenment. It's two totally different things. Both of them require the direct perception of emptiness.
And don't worry, in 5 years you will learn it by heart.
Yeah. It's a different way of looking at the world, but the direct perception of emptiness isn't doesn't mean you're over at that point. It means your suffering will definitely end if you've done it on the Mahayana path. But you still have work to do. What else was I going to say about it? It can take, they say, 7 lifetimes, different versions of it. How long does it take to reach enlightenment after the direct perception of emptiness? It can take 7 or 21 lifetimes, or if you're on the Vajrayana path, you can do it in that lifetime. So 1 lifetime, maybe 7 lifetimes, maybe 21 lifetimes, maybe. And I know it sounds like a lot. It's like, oh, well, 7 lifetimes. I mean, if this body of thought is correct, you've been at it for countless lifetimes prior. If you're really only 7 lifetimes away, that's pretty fast, right? Compared to countless.
Okay,
So.
I will tell you something that Geshe Michael says in this class.
What does he say?
He says that the only chance we have is 1 lifetime.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think. Okay. So the next one, next question. Name and explain the 4 different types of consequences that result from a karmic action. So these are the 4 flowers. And I'm going to admit that I feel free to jump in because I don't remember how he's translating them now. But
that's okay. You do this way, then I can do.
Okay, I'll do it, and you can jump in and correct me afterwards. Okay, so the first one, the ripened result. So your past actions create the realm that you're in, right? Like the human realm. Like we're born here as humans. So like the whole thing, right? It is a result of your past actions. You could have been a hell being. You could have been a hungry ghost. Could have been an animal. Could have been a demigod or a god. But you've created from your past actions, which took a lot of goodness, right? We live in a coherent world. We have the resources we need. It's extremely rare. That's coming from your past actions, the entire realm that you're living at. So, it's not like, anyway, the entire realm. Okay, so the corresponding experience. So this is interesting. So you're going to tend to get what you gave in the past, right? And so this is why you can why like money isn't the cause for getting things. Geshe says that all the time, right? You can have $1 billion in cash, be on a desert island, and you can't do anything with it other than maybe light a fire, right? It's the money isn't the cause for it. And I remember, I mean, this was, I'll tell this story again. It was, we tend to think that like our credit card is the cause for something, right? Well, I can buy things because I have a credit card. And it's not like that. And I remember Geshe, it was really funny, like 15 years ago. And he said, like, just because you have a credit card doesn't mean you can like buy a milkshake. And I'm like, oh, well, I've always been able to buy a milkshake in the past. It's worked every time for me. I think maybe, I wouldn't want to try and buy a milkshake without a credit card. And so I was on a trip and I just had a few minutes to get off the plane and go get something to eat. And I'm trying to eat vegetarian, and the only place to eat was a McDonald's. So I get off the airplane. I've got 5 minutes standing in line. The person in front of me gets a milkshake, right? Can I have a milkshake? Yeah. So I walk up and I say, well, I'm behind that person. It's almost the reverse maple donut experience, right? If you're familiar with that story. But so then I asked for a milkshake. I go, well, we're out. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, like 2 days ago, Geshe was saying, you can't buy a credit card isn't the cause for a milkshake. And here I am standing at McDonald's at the airport. It's not the end of the day. It's the middle of the day. They're out of milkshakes. And I don't have enough time to walk over to another terminal, to another McDonald's to get a milkshake from them. I'm stuck. I can't get my milkshake. And the credit card theoretically had more than enough room on it to buy a milkshake. I could have bought a car with the credit card. I couldn't get a milkshake, right? It was hilarious. And so I turned around and got back on the airplane without my meal. So it's not the cause. And you see it. So like, and how does that look like the corresponding experience here? Well, like, for example, we've been generous, but we weren't that generous, because for most of us, to get the resources we need, it's associated with work, right? I've got to go work to get money to buy the things I need. And if you'd been even more generous, you wouldn't have to work. You just have what you needed. It's why there are humans who don't have to work. And it's why there are humans that work and work really, really hard and have very little. The work itself, they're going to say it's a corresponding result, right? That, well, I have to work to get the things I need because I wasn't that generous. And so your results are going to be similar, right? And in the answer key, they're going to say, well, there's some people who have problems with being stolen from, others don't. Did you steal from other people in the past, or did you not? So that's corresponding experience. Corresponding habit. This is interesting. When you do something, you're going to create a habit to repeat it, right? It's going to get easier. You'll see this in a small way. Like when you work out, it gets to be easy after you've done it. If you just keep going to the gym and like, oh, okay, well, that's my new routine. It can be hard to get started. But once you get going, it's easy. Well, I just do that now. That's a small habit, but it's a larger one, right? Like it can go negative also. Like once people get used to lying, they're going to tend to lie more often, right? Or with generosity, like on the positive side, you start small, right? Like Ken Rinpoche would say, don't give away your house. Like if you're new to these teachings and you're new to the idea of karma, don't give away your house. You're going to regret it. Like start small with like vegetables, like give somebody, a small meal. And then as you do it, it gets easier, right? Easier to give away and to be more and more generous. And then you get the results back. But we have a habit, and you carry that from one lifetime into the next. And then the environmental result, the fourth one, is you're going to create a whole new world for you to step into, for better or for worse, right? And then that world is going to be based on the things that you've done this lifetime. And it's interesting. And not to, I will go ahead and give you this example. Like when we were in India, the streets were, just filled with like animals walk to the streets and they poop and piss on the streets, and it's just everywhere, right? The smell of manure and dirty, right? And then the monks, that's a result of sexual misconduct, right? Like when things are dirty like that, that's sexual misconduct. And there were no women there at the monastery. Like the monks didn't have partners, right? And so that's now they're humans. They're doing great. I'm not criticizing them. We all have issues, but it was pretty clear. Okay, well, there's some sexual misconduct here, right? That's from the past that they're trying to clean up. And yeah, there just were no women, right? That was an environmental result for them. And so they had a lifetime like that. And frankly, if I saw it, then that was my karma also, right? That, it wasn't, for all I know, I don't know what the monks are seeing, right? I only know what I saw when I was there. So those are the 4 ripened results, or the 4 consequences.
Yeah, and let me go through the same 4 in a more modern way. You may, maybe you heard from somebody, maybe from me or from Geshe Michael or from other teachers, the 4 flowers. So 4 flowers as karmic results, right? They come from exactly this place in Abhidharma, and we just put them in slightly different way. So Geshe Michael was thinking that the big result should be the last ones, right? So the first flower will correspond to corresponding experience. It means that if I have done something to others, then I will get the same experience that they had. I mean, if I'm angry, then people will get angry with me. If I was cheating on my partner, then somebody will do the same to me, maybe another partner, maybe in the next relationship, or maybe my business partner will be dishonest with me. It's actually, it's also partnership, so it cross-pollinates here between personal partnership and business partnership. So that will be the first flower. What we get, what we do. The second flower will be what here is called corresponding habit. I lied once, but karmically, I have created a habit because within 1 second, 65 seeds are ripening and 65 seeds are planted. And then they are getting bigger. It means that they multiply. So we definitely will get more than 1 seed out of 1 action. And then it depends on the time of the length of the action. This is why we have a habit. Then the third result, what here is called environmental result, actually is slightly different from here, because we say that everything else around us, including other people, comes from our previous deeds. So other people too. I mean, I was lying, I will see other people lying. Maybe I will see horrible propaganda in some countries, right? This is also coming from my seeds. And the fourth one is what is here called ripened results. how you can explain it to a person who does not believe in past lives, right? Who did not do course 4 with us, which is proof of past and future lives. So it means that by the end of your life, you collect a lot of seeds, and they will not end with your life. Like, your actions stay in you. Your body will be gone, but your actions will stay what you will become, and they will be carried on. By the way, we will have more details on this exactly next class. So it means that at the end of your life, you will have a short break between your different sequences of seeds. Like, what the death is, a short break between different sequences of seeds, more or less. Like, this sequence ended, then you go through some dissolution process, right? There is a short break, and then another sequence of seeds starts. This is what death and life process is. So basically, after your sequence ended, then another seed ripens and creates the whole realm, and you basically step into this realm. So these are 4 flowers. Next one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's think about 3 types of bad deeds: body, speech, and mind, right? And explain what 4 consequences it can produce. Let's think about something like the core bad deeds: killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, right? What will be the ripened result? Ripened result, it's always like about the place that will be created, about the whole world. It can be a human realm, right? Or desire realm. It's actually broader than human. Can be hell realm, can be hungry ghost realm. So if the bad deeds was really strong, so strong that it will get ripened result, so creating the realm, then you can find yourself in one of 3 lower realms, for example, hell realm. Then let's imagine that the bad deed that you have done was not that strong, or not necessarily you. Let's say somebody got into hell realm, but then the seeds were wearing out, and he or she succeeded to be born as a human, right? Then in this case, you will get the corresponding experience. I mean, your life can be short, or you will have no resources if it's related to stealing, or it will be like sexual misconduct means people will be how you call it, sexual misconduct for the
Adultery?
Yeah, people will commit adultery to you, right? You will get the experience. Second habit is then in your next life, you will be somebody who will be like, I don't know, maybe prone to military, some kind of killing. Maybe just be, the experience will be that you will have a shorter life and maybe some diseases, not really healthy, right? Okay, yeah. People will be stealing from you. This will be the experience, corresponding experience, and the corresponding habit result. You will get into this habit, so you will be prone to military service or something like that, right? Or I mean, military is okay, but maybe you will be prone to get into some kind of worse things also. For the stealing, the correspondent habit is you will be prone to repeat the same, right? And for the sexual misconduct, so it will be also in a form of thinking that it's okay, you know, I can do it, and will be prone to repeat the same. Environment. Environment means that even you will be born as a human, then other people will be unhealthy, or they will be prone to killing and to lying if it was, oh, I mean, I'm not there yet. No, not lying, stealing, like maybe corruption, and sexual misconduct. It will be okay for the society, like it will not be considered as something bad. And you may think that the environment is not ecologically safe, or it will be filthy. Like some countries, I think I do not want to name it, but you can think about it, right? Just you can take a look what the environment looks like to you, and you can have a pretty good guess what the seed was creating it. Okay, I think I have done all of them, right? For the body. Then the next for the speech, I will not go through all of them, right? There are 4: lying, divisive talk, harsh words, and idle talk. And in the same way, like ripened result will be a kind of birth in one of lower realms, corresponding experience, what you have done previously, like lying, divisive talk, harsh speech, will be done to you. Corresponding habit, it becomes a habit. And the environmental result means that it's kind of, do we have it? Yeah, we have it. Environmental result, it's like dangerous environment. People are involved in this non-friendly things like lying and divisive talks, harsh speech, and there are also many other things. Like they say that if we use harsh speech, then we have obstacles in the environment, like lack of bridges, or like something with the landscape, like rocky ways, etc. Okay, so in the mind, and this is something that you can really use as GPS, because if everything that you can see around you comes from the previous deeds, and you can trace it back, like using what you see. In your mind, we have 3 things, right? Jealousy, or it is called here craving; ill will. Ill will is what it is called, and wrong views. So the ripened result will be, again, the world that you create. The corresponding experience is that you will experience what you have planted. Basically, you will be overcome, in this case, with the feelings of ignorant desire, ignorant liking, right? Then disliking and ignorance. And corresponding habit is you are attracted to same type of thinking. Environmental result is that things get worse day after day for jealousy, for craving. The place is dangerous for ill will. If you see something going on right now on the planet, then maybe we should be kinder to other people and ourselves. And if you see a world where these teachings are degenerating, so maybe this is altogether related to ignorance, right? There is also a phrase that I think it's very powerful, right? They say that the pain people find dangerous things wonderful and pain to be something pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it.
I think it's my turn. I think it's fascinating to think, right, that what you're saying is affecting your actual environment, like lying, harsh words, divisive speech, idle talk. And then, okay. And when I was in retreat at Diamond Mountain, it was it's hilly, it's in the mountains. You would walk at night. There weren't paved roads at the time. And so it could be very slippery, loose gravel and dust. You could, going up and down sometimes these steep hills, it was dangerous just to walk outside. Everything had a thorn, all the plants had needles. All the animals had a stinger or a fang, like snakes, and there were wasps. Like one of the most painful bites in the world was some kind of wasp that was there. And I never got bit by it, but you'd see them. You're like, it was poisonous plants. There were you could step on a snake. It was actually dangerous to walk outside the door if you weren't careful. All of that was, and it's interesting because all of that is coming from some kind of verbal misdeed in my past, right? That's environmental results from all of those things. It's interesting to think of, and it explains why you'll see things like I've flown out of San Diego, and it's really shocking. San Diego is this beautiful city in Southern California, right on the water, very expensive, very beautiful. And then there's a fence,
The
wall, and just on the other side of it is Tijuana. And Tijuana is a dangerous town in Mexico. People are poor. And you can see, like, you go over and like one side's kind of looks like
paradise.
Well, yeah, it's green. It looks like golf courses and parks and obviously very expensive neighborhoods on the ocean. And the other side, it's all gray. It looks like you know, like after an automobile accident, when the window in an automobile cracks, and it's just, well, that's what that side of Tijuana looks like from the air. And it's an environmental result, right? It's people had a different set of karma. It's not in the land itself, right? Like one side of that wall, you know, like Southern California isn't like environmentally different than that northern part of Mexico that's right on the same piece of the Pacific. It's not in the dirt, right? It's not in the land, or it's not in the water. It's the karma that the people had. And there's a shared karma to the people in San Diego. They were a little bit more generous. They had a little bit less verbal misdeeds than the people over in Tijuana. You know, small, right? Like in the big range of what's possible between hell beings and gods, like the humans are all in this tiny one little narrow bit, but you could see the difference in karma. It's not in the land, it's the karma that they had to create their situation. I mean, they're literally a mile away from each other,
Yeah,
and living very different lives.
there are countries that are very similar in the climate also, right?
Mhm.
Like Thailand and India with totally different results.
Right.
And there are like, oh my God, like Dominican Republic and Haiti, right? Like one island,
Yeah.
half is green and nice, and half is sand, desert, and dangerous gangs and like lots of violence.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can literally, like when you fly, it's a big island out in the Caribbean, and I fly back and forth to Puerto Rico, and you see it, and you can look down, and you don't need a map to tell where, you know, the island is divided in half. You don't need a map to tell. I mean, just like chunk. Haiti is desert, the Dominican Republic, green and lush on the other side. People's karma.
Then also something, I mean, probably some of you travel somewhere, maybe just in the other city, or maybe you took a plane and went somewhere on a different part of this globe. And I mean, it's amazing, like the places can be so different, right?
Yeah.
Then how do you create it, right? This is actually what is environmental result.
Mhm.
If your seeds are changing very fast, maybe you will find yourself in different countries in a while.
Mhm. Yeah, it was kind of strange on our trip when we went from Chicago to Paris.
Oh yeah,
And then, okay, so Paris is different than Chicago.
we
The architecture is a heck of a lot better.
we took a trip all over the world, right?
Yeah.
This year,
And
last year.
and so we went to Paris to, you know, meet some other Dharma students. And then we went from Paris to India and Bangalore.
Qatar.
To Qatar, yeah,
Qatar.
which was yeah, that was all we saw was the airport in Qatar, but like very fancy, like inside, like luxurious. But obviously a very Arabic and very different world. And then to Bangalore, which was very much India and unlike anything I had ever seen. And then at Bangalore, and then we were in
Japan.
and then at the monastery that was about 100 miles from Bangalore, which was different in its own way, but still similar, still very much in India. And then to Japan, which is also like, so like India is one of the dirtiest countries I've ever seen. Like everywhere, there's this dirt in Bangalore, that like this filmy dust that covers everything. And then you get to Japan, it's crazy clean. Like public restrooms, completely clean. And like no gum on the sidewalks. There are no trash cans anywhere because you take care of your own trash. Like you wouldn't throw something away and make somebody else take care of it. So a whole entire country with the karma to see things that are like significantly cleaner than the United States. And then back again, it's a little shocking, right? Because each place has their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, there are good things in India, like people there, I think they really accept what they have. They do not fight with the windmills, you know, like sometimes people of the West, you have the idea that they have like fighters, everything, you know, like, and they're like accepting, but too much. So
the monks, honestly, at Sarah May, how didn't they seem to be fairly happy to you?
very happy.
Yeah, they're fairly content. And yeah, and they had nothing, right?
Okay, so that was the class about how you will push your results to ripen, right? Where you can push it a little bit. And to be honest, the reason why secret teachings work is in this class that you have just heard, strange enough. And the only hope that we have is to do this within one lifetime, like to use these teachings, and maybe you think it is completely impossible as of today. You can do it.
Yeah.
We have to walk the path and get it done.
The other thing too, I'll say is that the pace at which your results ripen can pick up quite a bit. 25 years ago, and it's not just for you, it's for the people around you too, right? That's part of the environmental result. The people around you are going to have like a similar karma. Like a Buddha, he can only see like what, like a 10th level bodhisattva, right? At the least, like it's not like you know, so the people, as your karma changes, the people around you too will change. And you'll see people, you'll see karma seems to be ripening faster than what it did 25 years ago, you know, or 30 years ago when Geshe was doing these classes. He wasn't talking about, you know, the 4 steps and getting what you want in 6 months. And now, I mean, frankly, we're seeing people who haven't been practicing for decades get some pretty surprisingly dramatic results pretty quickly, right? So things can change, and the world will change around you as they do. So that's all I have.
I suggest to answer questions after the classes. Maybe we will do a separate questions and answer session because we don't want to delay classes too much. We have a lot of material, as you can see. So maybe I can ask Artyom to collect the questions and we will answer some other time. Okay? Close your eyes. And think about the fact that you have spent 1 hour and a half listening to this class. Maybe somebody was translating or recording. And dedicate every single second of this class, which gave you 65 seeds each, to understand this course better, to be able to apply these principles and to get your full potential out of this life, to become an absolutely happy person in a happy world that you create. Go back to your breathing. Open your eyes.
At Creek Plaza.
Okay. See you next Saturday.
How many people did we have?